Okay, so let's start because we are almost 10:05, and I think it's better to have more time for the discussion than for waiting. So good morning again for everyone. Welcome to this interdisciplinary webinar organized from different COSACTION. My name is Almudena Munoz. I'm the action chair of LIAIS that you will discover later on what about is. And here today I will be the moderator of this session where 5 different COSACTION related to circular and resilient topics will join today for presenting the action, presenting the topics and the hot deliverable that they are promoting in their action, but also to discuss a little bit more about how the action and how in general different activities could improve the sustainability and the circularity of Europe in general. So today we have this pleasure of having here 5 COSACTION, as I mentioned: Water for Reuse, LIAIS, SIF, Transformer, and CLIMENT. Together, the 5 of us action, we will discuss different points and we will try to show you different approaches, all of them boosting circularity and sustainability. So the agenda is separated like in 3 parts. The first one will be the one that will start as soon as I finish this introduction and will be related to the showcase of the action, the 5 COSACTION. Later on will be a kind of interactive discussion between the action, and we will finalize with some conclusion and also any question that you will have. It's true that you could raise your hand or even open your microphone, but in order to have a suitable management of the webinar, I suggest you to not open your microphone until the time of questions, or the other option that you have is to put the question in the chat. So as soon as we have time and the presentation will be finished, I will ask the question for the specific action that you would like to ask for. So I don't want to take more time, and I think it's time to do these showcases of the action. So I think I'm going to start with water for reuse. I could not see the people,
Yes.
but I think, yeah, Angel is here, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for preparing and to sharing this initiative that is very important for all of us. Also for sharing all the advances and the actions that we are developing. And I'm going to share. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. So, well, just to let you know the main key points of this construction that is called Water for Reuse. I'm Angel Robles. I'm here in representation of the cost action. I'm acting as vice chair. So I want to apologize the chair, Jerome Armand, because due to personal issues, it was not possible for him to be here. But he told me that it will be a pleasure to be here, but not possible. Well, this action started at the end of 2024, so we have just finished the first full year, and we have started the second one. So well, we are starting a lot of activities, but there are others that have to be started yet during the next months. It is expected, of course, to end at the end of 2028. It is organized in 5 scientific technical working groups and 1 extra dissemination working group. And well, the main objectives, just to expose you to those that doesn't know this cost action that is open to everybody that wants to contribute, of course. It is focused on water for reuse for different objectives. So it tries to integrate all the water cycle, all the water chain, mainly focus on the wastewater treatment step to improve the whole chain in terms of water management and promoting the recycling and the reuse of reclaimed water and other bioproducts such as nutrients or whatever. So what we try to do is to make well an interdisciplinary approach, trying to integrate different aspects very important for recycling water, such as health, social, economic, and environmental constraints. Of course, the main key output is to develop different tools and methods that will help stakeholders and each actor to properly evaluate the possibility of reusing this reclaimed water safety and with a proper economic and environmental and social, of course, output. After this, um, we are focusing also in not only looking at the technical and technological point of view, since we need to integrate, and we are doing all the actors in the whole chain. So we have different contributors going from industrials, from farmers to local authorities. So trying to get this output as much worthy as possible for the society. To reach this output, what we try is to model the different associated risk to the use of reclaimed water, and this is focused on overcoming different obstacles that we can reach in this practice. So from this modeling exercise, we want to also develop some control approaches for properly implementing this use. This will finally help not only in economic terms, but also to preserve different resources. Not only the water, we know that we are in a situation that water scarcity is complicated in different regions of Europe and across the world. Especially here, I'm from Spain. Here in Spain, depending on the area, we have depending on the time, complicated situations. So we really think that water reuse, safe water reuse, is the future for the whole world. So at the end, what we want to express is that we want to change the point of view. Now, the wastewater is not furthermore a waste. It should be seen as a source of new resources, because it has not only water, also the nutrients, the nitrogen, the phosphorus that can be used for agricultural purposes in soil. And of course, this gives us the opportunity to produce reclaimed water with the concept of water on demand. Well, just to sum up, thus the cost tries to integrate all the water chain and improve the water management and promote these practices from different dimensions, such as safety, social, economical, and environment. Why this cost action? Because at the end, there are some barriers that we have to evaluate for being sure that this practice is properly conducted. Of course, this is already done in several places, but it has been too widely expanded to other areas and regions with other technological barriers, etc. So there are different points to evaluate, from the key treatment step that we have in our area to the type of crop or soil that we have, and the number of uses or the receiving waters that can be applied to the soil for keeping all safety and properly a product. Well, I'm going to go to the next one. At the end, to sum up, because I don't want to extend a lot, we need to focus on these points. No, how and for what we want to reuse this water. So keeping controlled situations from different dimensions, keeping the cost as good as possible, because we can add steps for purifying this water, but this of course, increments the footprint in terms of environment and cost at the end. And keeping in mind what is the point of view of the society, no? Because at the end, reusing this water sometimes needs to have some teaching or divulgative actions for the society to receiving this practice adequately. The working groups, so each one will focus to different deliverables. Each one with one key output. We want to, in working group one, see the institutional and socioeconomic aspects. So even some guidelines for the properly implementation of the action, of the activities of the action. Later in the second one, we are looking at the different technologies that are available and how they allow to produce this clean water in the current stage of the water cycle, and how we want to advance in the future. In the three, we are evaluating the risk assessment and the routes of exposure to the different contaminants, not the ones that are currently regulated, but also others that are or emerging concerns and can be monitored for further implementing this use. At the end, in working group 4 and 5, the main output will be to produce some databases, some proposal models for and decision support systems for properly implementing this water reuse around the world. We are right now 57 countries, 39 from COST members. Main people is here distributed in this graph. So just to see, well, we are a lot of people from Spain, United Kingdom, Turkey, also Portugal, of course, and there are a lot of presence of the Mediterranean area because of the situation from here. Currently, we are more than 450 people working. Of course, the doors are open to all those that wants to actively contribute. And here you can see a few distribution among the different working groups, and this is well balanced, and etc. And well, here you can see, and I led you the two websites, the one from the cost and the second one from the action. So I will be very happy to discuss with all of you, with all the assistants, and to explain any doubt and whatever. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Angel, for your presentation. There is any question for Angel for the moment? I see so many people thanking, but I think there is no question. So I'm going to move for the next one just to follow the banner. The next one is liaise. So instead of myself, the action vice chair Vicky Escolo will be the presenter. So Vicky, thank you so much for being here. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Give me 1 minute to find how I'm sharing my screen, because I have 3 screens. Did you give me permission, Almudena?
Yeah, you could now.
Give me 1 minute. Apologies, guys. We're using Teams as a means that I very rarely use. I cannot see Almudena. You pop out. Are you sure?
First, I could share for you if you
Yes,
want.
yes, please. That would be quicker.
Let me 1 second.
And if I'm not mistaken, I have 10 minutes.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
I will do my best.
Okay, I think now you are seeing the screen.
I can see the screen, yes. And
Okay.
but do you have my lias cost action? Because I cannot view.
Are you seeing?
I see the general screen, and I cannot see the presentation. I don't know why.
I think it's the presentation.
Yes. Yes.
So
Okay.
that's one.
Okay. So thank you very much for this invitation, Almudena. I'm Dr. Vicky Skolu. I'm a chemical engineer by profession and joined this LIOS cost action literally because my interest was in energy from waste. So we're discussing about interdisciplinary, about the LIOS cost action. Next slide, please. And Almudena, yes. And the title of our cost action is Cooperation, Development and Cross-Border Transfer of Industrial Symbiosis among Industry and Stakeholders. And literally, most of the people know about circular economy, and industrial symbiosis is something which is not very well addressed and known among industries and other stakeholders. The acronym is, of course, LIAS, cost action, and we started on October 2023, and we are already stepped in on the third year of our cost action. Our website is the one that you can see below, and you can find all relevant information. Next slide, please. And what is the challenge of the action, literally, and why we started dealing with this thematic? Industrial symbiosis is fragmented and not sufficiently fragmented as a practice, literally, of circular economy, and not sufficiently integrated into industrial practices via digital tools or policy frameworks across Europe. Just to give you an idea, everybody of us were knowing how, for example, two industries or one industry cannot transform its waste to something useful, energy or materials, but this collaboration between different industries and exchanging of resources, utilities, waste, in order to literally collaborate and produce something is not very well known. And why, of course, is relevant for resilience and circularity is what exactly I said, the industrial symbiosis, what the terminology says, how industries can collaborate via their wastes, repurpose, use, exchanging with common benefits, can reduce all this resource efficiency. We know about all these fossil fuels, and has the collaboration and cross-sector collaboration between industries and suppliers, consumers, etc., and enabling literally this is the systemic circular economy solutions. Some of the strategic objectives is that we want to strengthen the knowledge and evidence the industrial symbiosis practices, because there are some of these practices around the world, the tools on how to do that and the positive impacts, enable this cross-sector and cross-regional collaboration. We're discussing about how industries collaborate in a local level, how they can collaborate even cross borders or neighboring regions to unlock all these new symbiotic, let's say, pathways based on, as I said, exchanging of waste, of utilities, in order, of course, to produce energy, save resources, and at the same time, when we do that and save water, carbon emissions, we're saving, of course, the environment and helping the society to live in a better environment nearby, let's say, nearby or a little bit farther industrial parks. Some other objectives is to support the policy integration and decision making on this circular economy and resilient industrial systems. And based on what is happening the latest years around the world, this is very, very important. Industries are there, and we can help them collaborate and unlock their potential to become stronger and stronger, and exchanging the resources and creating literally the sustainability. And of course, we have stakeholders from all around the world, and different from social services and academics, industrialists, and we are aiming, and our objective is to bridge this research industry and public authorities to literally scale up the implementation and uptake in real practice of these, let's say, technologies and knowledge exchange in order to strengthen industries. Almudena, next slide. And we're discussing about an interdisciplinary approach. Disciplines participating in the action are engineers like me and industrialists, industrial systems, environmental sciences and circular economy experts from digital technologies and data science. We shouldn't forget that AI comes very, very, very fast, and this is a very important field nowadays for industries too. We have expertise from economics, business, and managers, so we are including also this information, policy, governance, and social sciences. And we are literally, each one of the people that are taking part in this alliance construction, we share interdisciplinary methods. For example, something we are applying in engineering might have a benefit for business models, combining systems thinking, digital tools, policy analysis, and all the socioeconomic assessments to co-develop this, as I said, this scalable industrial symbiosis solutions. And the stakeholders that are involved, you can see in the box, are from everywhere: academia, research organizations, industry, small, medium-sized companies, policymakers, authorities, clusters, civil society, non-governmental organizations, because literally each one of us, we have our own expertise and ideas, but when we're discussing all together on how to literally scale up circular economy and make that in practice with industrial symbiosis, then we're finding new solutions. Next. And the main activities and methodologies, we are also separated in 4 working groups, and we have quite a good amount of participants. We're discussing about we have the working group 1, which discuss about the technical synergies, technologies, and which will initiate and support further the industrial symbiosis. We gather the knowledge and try to establish a collaborative framework focusing on different streams that can be covered by industrial symbiosis, and enable that their sustainable development and the society's sustainable development. We have the working group 2, which has to do about the industrial symbiosis business model. Up to now, we're discussing about business models which still rely on linear economies, but we're discussing about how the business models will become circular, where, for example, if we take as an example the wastes, we will not waste our waste, but we will embody them and create new, let's say, benefits for industries, in order to enhance their profitability. And at the same time, when industries are working, people are working, society can have some benefits, etc. The working group 3 has to do with awareness and acceptance of industrial symbiosis. I said with the opening of my presentation, people understand better circular economy, which is a concept, but it's not very well known that industries collaborate and can do better through industrial symbiosis and exchanging of the resources. And when we say resources, something that we found is it's not only wastes, it might be utilities, water, steam, when industries are working, and even human capital. Very often, people are working in industries, they know their own technologies, methodologies, but if they're not trained in new technologies, we cannot enhance this collaboration. Of course, work package 4 has to do with the dissemination and exploitation of our foundings. We try to maximize this. We have 2 more years in front of us, and we try to have an impact via our publications. We already have some impact. Our trainings, our seminars, in order to disseminate, exploitate, and enhance this industrial symbiosis concept, and not only for the 4 years, but even later. I'll move. Thank you. So some of the activities and the methodologies we're following, we try to map this knowledge and the state-of-the-art analysis on industrial symbiosis, as I said, practices, tools, and frameworks, the existing ones. We had literally a team of several people with different expertise through working groups, training schools, short-term scientific missions, workshops. we're exchanging all these ideas, and we try to see how we will take this a step further. We're discussing about case studies and pilot experiences on industrial symbiosis, and to validate all these methods across sectors and regions, see the positive and the positive outcomes, and possibly see what can be done in order to accelerate all this. Development, and we're developing and assess digital and decision support tools for industrial symbiosis. For example, web pages where you can go and you can find all the appropriate information on different industries if they're exchanging, for example, their ways of how they can collaborate. And of course, dissemination and, as I said, capacity building, which is very, very important, as not many people know about industrial symbiosis. Through all these soft actions, I would say, webinars, guidelines, projects, podcasts, and all the stakeholder engagement activities. Almo? And key results. We established a very, very strong interdisciplinary and cross-country network on industrial symbiosis. We're discussing about 59 countries, if I remember well, and one is spreading, of people that they're working in the field and the readers in the field. Mapped and analyzed existing practices, digital tools, and policy frameworks across Europe in terms of a circular economy and industrial symbiosis, developed and shared methodologies and conceptual frameworks to support the implementation and further development and enhancement of industrial symbiosis in different areas of the world, and also how each one of us in different areas of the world that we're working, we can adopt this or propose something new. Engage a wide range of stakeholders. As I said, I already said academia, industry, public authorities, and even more. Delivered all this capacity building and disseminating activities. One of these is the one that we do now. And in general, contribute to increased visibility and uptake of industrial symbiosis in research, policy, and practice. It seems that in future we will be able to literally hear a lot about this. Next steps and collaboration opportunities. We are on the third grant period. We have our, as all other actions, we have our webpage. Please follow us in LinkedIn, in YouTube, X, Insta, where you will see all the latest developments. We recently mentioned by main cost action. We have all the reports uploaded, and please make sure that you follow us, and I'm pretty sure that we can have many synergies. I already noticed that you already discussed about water for reuse, and industrial symbiosis needs water to be recycled. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicky.
Yes, the contact persons, Almudena and me as the vice chair. Almudena, thank you very much. You do a brilliant job, and please follow us in our website, because plenty of opportunities to collaborate, and I'm looking forward to hear also the other cost actions, guys. I already noticed some synergies, but allow me to discuss later.
Thank you so much, Vicky, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, all the audience, also for listening. There are any questions? I didn't know. So we are going to move for the next one, that is shift. Again, I don't see the.
I'm here.
I think I was thinking I see Fernanda at the beginning, but not anymore yet. Welcome,
No,
Fernanda.
I'm here, Amdena.
Sorry, the face is in the so
Yeah, I'm
move.
here.
So welcome here. The floor is yours for present and shift.
Thank you. So sharing. Okay. So first of all, let me start for thanking Almudena and all of you for this wonderful initiative. It's great to put us together. It's wonderful, and I hope that we have a lot, not only to share, but to engage ourselves in other activities, because I think that cost action for me is one of the most incredible European programs, and it's about this kind of networking. So thank you so very much, Almudena. Thank you all of you for your presentations. And I will present our action Shift. I'm the chair of Shift. And yeah, we have some members of Shift online. I see that we have our grant holder, Joana Ralão, and other members, even some of our responsible for our working groups. So I have a plan B, of course, a PowerPoint, but I choose to make our presentation using our own website because it's also a commitment of our action is to this idea of open access and open science. So I'm starting with that also. So everything that we do, we try to publish and to share it with everyone. So Shift is about, we have a lot of questions, initial questions that we wanted to address. How can we imagine a sustainable future? It's all about social science and humanities and arts, and how to face and to engage dealing with climate change. So, of course, it is a very multidisciplinary action, not only with people from social science and humanities and arts. Myself, I am Fernanda. I'm an historian by training, but we have a lot of members with other kind of trainings and acting with other disciplines. And the idea is to have this multidisciplinary approach. And we have a lot of people from biology or life sciences and other kind of disciplines. And we want, how can we use social science and humanities and arts to deal with climate change, but building some tools and some awareness and engaging with other disciplines working together. So I think this approach and this webinar is great for that. I saw a lot of questions that you raised last to cost actions, and I see a lot of fields for collaboration. So how can we upscale? How can we try to what kind of forms of transformative education and learning are emerging? How can we use what kind of methods? And we have this approach. We think that, of course, the social science and humanities and arts, we have our own epistemologies and our own methodologies, and we think that they can be helpful and they must be used by other disciplines because our common goals and our missions regarding climate change, sustainability are the same. So our idea is, how can we help facing those huge challenges? So we started with these questions. Of course, we have a structure similar to other cost actions. We have 4 working groups. And we know that the success, most of the success of cost actions is about the leadership of working groups, and we have this privilege of having some leadership really incredible in working group 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So some of them are with us, and a great grant hold manager. So, and this is, and we have other principles of governance. We have a General Assembly, and one of the things that we are very proud and we like very much is we have a very strong Young Research Council, and working with young researchers, and they are very important active in this shift cost action. So and we try always to keep in contact with all the groups and all the members of the management committee. So we are a lot. We are more than 300. That was our option, to opened place for people to present their contributions. If people are active, they are very welcome, and I think that it's good. So we have our 4 working groups. One is about to reflect on critical practice interventions, and we have our results published. The idea is more conceptual, is more about discussing and try to define what kind of theoretical framings we need to use or adapt I don't know, to see the future and to promote and to engage with different approaches to knowledge of and co-production in critical practice. So that's a more theoretical working group. The second one is, and of course you have on the website the kind of activities and deliverables. And as I told you before, we have this concern about publishing everything, so everything is there. The second working group is very connected with the idea of the engagement of communities. So, and we have a lot of materials, pedagogical and kits, and to everyone to use. And the idea is to work together with stakeholders and early career researchers, policymakers, communities, grassroots. So the idea is to develop and share methodologies of engagement of these communities. And we all know, and we listened to the previous actions, we know the problems, but we really need to develop some tools of engagement of communities. We know that the question of water, the question of reuse, we know the problem, but we already also know, and we are very aware that to make a difference, we need a cultural change of communities. So, and for that, we need to use some specific methodologies and to use them in that purpose. So we need to work together. And I think that working group 2 is doing an amazing job, and working with people and of course with webinars, summer schools, etc., and trying to share with everyone that experience, and a guidebook and toolkits. You can find all of that, and of course we are totally open to develop that with your subjects. I think it's a good approach. The working group 2, it's really amazing. We have, I told you, we have leaderships incredibles. So the work that working group 3 is doing, working with practitioners, art practitioners, is really amazing. Not only performative practices and material, but also with dance. For example, we had an experience last summer in Dublin with a carbon dance cycle. So how can we engage people and using dance and some traditional ways of being, and use them to explain climate change and how can we work together. So you have a lot of the results of the art and science labs, summer schools with a lot of publications. Julia and Elena, they are incredible, and with a lot of publications from Springer, etc. You can not only see them but use them at your own benefit. And the last one, working group 4, it's connected mostly with the idea of the dissemination and connecting the dots, and work with the different kind of publics. We try to organize also these with transversal programs, and we have a lot of them. They engage people from the different working groups, and they try to have some continuity, trying to solve the scientific problems and challenges along the 4 grant periods. And we have some lasting programs. The idea of the reimagining the generative futures. If you click on that, you can see all the kind of activities connected with that, or the human nature kinship, or connection from art and science, or some focus programs like Mountains for Sustainability, when you can use people and invite people from different contexts. And that's one of the things that we also try to do, is to connect Shift with other kind of international programs. For instance, Mountains for Sustainability, as other programs, are connected also with UNESCO and biosphere reserves or some kind of networks, trying to engage and to enlarge, of course, the result of our work, and to learn with them, and to put ourselves at the service of them. Or Universities for Sustainability, and regarding that, I just want to use my 10 minutes. I wanted to to share with you some things that we did regarding this concern about engaging people and to understand them. We have some policy briefs. One of the policy briefs, it was published in the first year of Shift, is the policy brief Rethinking Climate Action, Recognize Plurality, Insights from Social Science. And we really try to engage people to think about the importance of social science and humanities and arts. It was incredible. It was also supported by JPI Climate. And I think it's good. And we are organizing a congress in the beginning of June and try to discuss some kind of update of this kind of policy brief, because we need to understand what kind of contribution and approach social science and humanities and arts can bring to this idea of climate change. But we have other kind of policy briefs, very interesting. One of them is about how people in our communities, and at the level not only at universities, but our own communities of research, think about these subjects of climate change and sustainability. And I invite you to read the policy briefs and results of the surveys that we invited people to do. And it's good to see, because sometimes we have some paradoxes that are useful for us to prepare our work, because it's incredible how people in our own community are not so different in their awareness regarding those problems that people that are not engaged in these topics of climate change or sustainability. So we must be aware of that. And sometimes we want to preach to everyone, but other times we need to start with our own communities. Another topic that we are working is about cultural ecosystem services and biocultural heritage, also with UNESCO, because it's also the idea of trying to understand this kind of evolution of our understanding, even from heritage and working on this connectivity between people and planet and nature. So the topic of biocultural heritage is one of the topics that we are pursuing. Last but not the least, I already told you that we are very aware of this agenda of open science since the very beginning, and we are working, and we have this invitation also from all the costs trying to connect this with the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. So that's one of our concerns, is to also contribute to those agendas, wider agendas. And the last topic, or almost the last topic that I wanted also to share with you and invite you, and I think that Catarina Kadima, she's responsible for that topic, is present in this webinar. Of course, I believe that you also are engaged with your gender plans. We are working in this gender plan also with the survey, trying to understand differences. So if you want to share also in this kind of host actions this challenge of gender plan, it's good, because I think we can work together, and when we work together, we are stronger. Last but not the least, we have this shift stage. As I told you, we try to engage young researchers, and they are doing an amazing job inviting people for podcast series, etc. But we also have this kind of stage, a kind of shift stage, when we invite people not to present their activities, but to present the results, their contributions, what they did different, what are their contribution to increase the knowledge about those subjects or methodologies. So we have also this stage for everyone. And of course, we are very eager and happy with this idea of open to other kind of contributions and partnerships. So thank you. It's really a pleasure for us to be a part of this webinar.
Thank you, Fernanda, for your contribution. Just to mention that in the chat, Katarina put this survey and the information with the Google Form about this, what they are expecting with this SIP Gender Equality and Inclusion Plan survey. So please, I kindly ask you to read it and please complete the survey. Also,
Thank you very much.
Fernanda, there is a question from the audience. It's about the working group to work. Is this guidebook that you commented on community engagement available yet in the website? Maybe you could put here the link in the chat as well.
Yeah, I believe that Joanna, she's online. She can put, you have several outputs from working group 2. Joanna, she will write the link in the chat, and of course we are totally available if you want to discuss something about it, because sometimes we have these challenges, and if we can change the subject, so we can work on your own subjects with this kind of methodologies. A lot of time we work with cities or city communities and this kind of stakeholders or publics. We can use your challenges and your scientific questions or needs to make them a subject in our approach. So engage with us. Of course, we'll have the pleasure, and we have a summer and some discussions of working group 2 in this kind of connection with communities this year, so we can engage. But Joanna, she will share all the outputs of working group 2, but everything is published online.
Thank you, Fernanda. I think that Oslen Kusiglu wanted to say something because he raised the hand, or maybe it's a mistake, I'm not sure. Oslen, are you here? Okay, so probably it will be a mistake because he's not writing or speaking. So thank you again, Fernanda, and let's move for transforming. If I'm not wrong, Julia and Kathy, that are chair and vice chair, they are here. So Julia, Kathy, welcome here, and the floor is yours.
I'm just finding the presentation to share. Yeah. I'm screen sharing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see it as a full slideshow?
Yeah, everything is okay.
Excellent. Yeah, so we're Transformers. I'm Julia, I'm the chair, and Katie is also here. She's our vice chair, and it's really nice to see lots of members in this call as well. So great, and I think we share some overlapping members, particularly with Shift. So the introduction to the action, so Transformers stands for the Transformations International Experience and Research Network for Sustainable Futures. We started in 2023, at the end of 2023, and we run to 2027. So we've just started our 3rd funded year, and there's a link there to our website. So our purpose and key objectives. So I will talk you through this slide, but essentially there's a growing recognition in research, policy, and practice that we need to shift the way in which we're thinking about how we achieve sustainability. So to date, there has been lots of ideas and initiatives and policy commitments made to move towards sustainability, things like the 1.5 degrees target in climate change, or the Aichi targets, which have now been replaced by the Global Biodiversity Framework, has set targets for protecting and restoring biodiversity globally. We also see things like the SDGs, and before that, the Millennium Development Goals. But these kinds of targets are consistently being missed. They're not met. It's widely accepted that we've missed 1.5. We missed pretty much all of the Aichi targets in biodiversity. Yeah. So there's a need to really sort of recognize that the things that we've been doing so far are not getting us to where we're agreeing that we need to be in order to create a sustainable future. And increasingly in sort of policy circles and also across research, we're talking about this concept of transformative change. So we need real fundamental shifts in societies in order to achieve sustainability, because just doing more of the same thing is not getting us there. So that was sort of the starting point for Transformers coming in and saying, well, okay, we need transformative change. What does that mean? Like, what is this thing that we're talking about? And we recognize within that there are multiple knowledge holders and knowledge communities that work on topics that either already call themselves transformations or transitions, but many of them don't, but have really valuable knowledge to add. And we can draw on perspectives from, say, history and philosophy, and not just those that are already saying, hey, we're working on transformative change. But a lot of this research is really fragmented, and some of it's very marginalized. So we can recognize already that social sciences and humanities are underfunded in comparison to STEM disciplines in sustainability research. That's widely documented and recognized by the European Commission as well. But we can take that further and say that within humanities, within social sciences and humanities, the humanities are further marginalized. Or we can look to, for example, Indigenous and local community level knowledge, which is further under-recognized and underused within our understandings. But often it's these kinds of knowledges that we need to be pulling on in order to think about social transformative change. What does it mean to change socially? And we can recognize that in understanding this concept of transformative change, we probably need to transform the way in which we think about what is usable knowledge, how do we connect to it, how do we bring it together, and how do we recognize and draw on that for creating transformative change. So in recognizing that kind of fragmentation, the goals of transformers are really to be putting knowledge together in ways that does not marginalize or subordinate some knowledge to others, but really centers this idea of epistemic justice within it. And so we're really using that to take a broad horizon scan over what do we know about transformative change when we do that. How do we train transformations researchers or those interested in transformation in the kinds of skills that they need in order to work across this diversity of knowledge and create transformative change? And really, a lot of our work is about identifying, including, and creating safe spaces to bring different knowledge, cultures, and perspectives together. And then really trying to embed the outcomes of doing that within ongoing policy practice and public trajectories that are trying to create that kind of sustainability transformation. So we say that we are taking a radical approach to interdisciplinarity. I mean, it is really central to our approach. We're extending what we even mean by disciplines. I would say it's even radical transdisciplinarity. And a lot of the work that we're doing, and Katie can come onto this in the discussion as well, is really developing this idea of what do we mean by epistemic justice and epistemic injustice? How do we bridge it? How do we pull things together? How do we integrate? And so there's a lot of open discussion of expectations and needs, because we all come into this with different epistemic worldviews and expectations about how we work together, what that means, what's a valuable output. There's a lot of freedom within the working groups for setting and changing directions that's heading in. And we're really creating creative approaches for creating and communicating knowledge. Examples would be that in the last training school, a lot of the work was channeled through creating zines for putting together experiences on epistemic injustice. And so, yeah, we're steering findings towards thinking about epistemic justice and how we work, as well as creating these outputs that are collections of a diversity of knowledge and often underrepresented knowledge to move towards sustainability transformations. We do have stakeholders engaged through the process. So often when we do our meetings, we're in place and we hold practice case visits where we're really looking at sustainability in action. And that gives us also a chance to interact with people who are trying to create change in their communities or in their place. and really think about how our different knowledge perspectives explain or question that kind of change. And I think Dina's on this call, and Dina organised a really wonderful practice case visit in Riga for our first general meeting, where we were engaging with local food systems as an example. Or in Copper last year, we were looking at energy issues. And then in about a month's time, we're in Lisbon and we're engaging with more sort of social justice cases when we go there. But I want to be really open that there are challenges here in how we get to be so open and interdisciplinary while also moving forwards, because one of the questions is, where is forwards? We all come in with a different expectation around that. Sustainability is a hugely normative topic. But even just at the start of the action, in thinking about who we let in while keeping it manageable, but without then meaning that, yeah, everything counts. That, like, where are the boundaries when you're trying to be inclusive? And that's been an interesting challenge for us, but we're learning from it. We have a big range of activities and methodologies. So we've got all of the working groups across the top here. Working group 1 is really about providing foundations to a lot of us for understanding how we do this kind of interdisciplinarity, and then also trying to integrate across all of the working groups. So we've given them a big job, and Katie's one of the co-leaders and is doing an excellent job with that. So things like training schools, centering epistemic justice, and she's also driving forward at the moment an edited book volume that covers the whole action. Historical transformations. So we wanted to take a look backwards about how we understand transformative change through time, identifying examples and learning from those. And that's really sort of has ended up focusing more on urban transformation in time. And I'll show you an outcome in a minute. Working group 3 is on current transformations. They're about to publish an edited volume that takes prefigurative politics as a conceptual framework, but then that helps pull on lots of different examples and cases. Working group 4 is really sort of taking off at the moment, and they're looking at future transformative change. So how do we envision what the future looks like, and what do we know about how that can be stimulated, and how that draws on challenges of, say, democracy and action and roles. And working group 5 is really then thinking about, well, yeah, how do we communicate about transformative change in ways that overcome epistemic injustices, but in ways that are understandable and usable to people. So it's not a small task for anybody in these working groups. Key results and progress. So this is a picture from last summer's training school that was led by Working Group 1, where they were really unpacking this concept of epistemic injustice and what that means and how it's experienced and how it can be overcome. We've got a key deliverable from each working group is to produce an online compendium, so an interactive compendium showing examples of transformative change, and then how these examples can be understood from different perspectives and knowledge cultures. So the example I've given you here is on our website, and that's the Working Group 2 compendium looking back in history. So it's nice and interactive through the different timeline, and you can see different examples and cases there. And the Working Group 3, their compendium is centered around this book that they've put together on the prefigurative politics of present transformation. And that's, yeah, will be open access in February this year, so very soon. But we've got lots of more exciting things coming up. The Working Group 4 compendium is underway, so thinking about future transformations. There's the cross-action book, which is already underway, which I mentioned before, and that's really forming the focus of our February meeting in Lisbon, where we're bringing all the chapter authors together to present, discuss, critique each other. And we're also planning a training school in 2026 on transformative change in policy. So we're engaging with things like IPCC, IPBES, the European Environment Agency, who are all working on sort of policy responses to transformative change. And so we're going to get a training on those and think about how the work in the action fits to those. And so then further on, we'll be moving into compiling all of these into training materials for everybody. There is contact information here. Welcome to be in touch. There's our LinkedIn and our website. I've put my email here, but if you would like a fast answer, it's usually best to check the working group lead that you want to talk to and contact them. But yeah, we welcome engagement across the action. And that's Transformers.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Julia, for the presentation and for all the information. I think please share all this information of the training school with the audience in the coming month, because I think it's super interesting to attend as a trainees. For the moment, I don't see any other question from the audience, so I think I'm going to move for the last but not least presentation, that is for CLIMENT project. I have the same problem than before. I don't see all the names here.
I'm here, Modena.
Okay, Chara, thank you. Welcome, Chara. Chara is the vice chair, if I'm not wrong. So she's the representative of CLIMENT, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Modena, and thank you all the participants and also the other representatives from the other cost actions and chairs and vice chairs and any representative. It's a pleasure to share with you today and see any opportunity for collaboration or just to know more about what we are doing in our cost action. And I'm here, as said, representing CLIMENT. I'm the vice chair. Unfortunately, the chair of the...
Sorry, Chiara, for interrupt you. We are seeing the presentation in presenter mode.
Oh, let me see.
I think if you go for swap displays in the corner, you will change it.
It's always the matter of the screens, no?
Yeah.
Or let me see if I can make it
maybe do again full screen, and I think if you touch the button swap displays that is close to end source tips in the left side.
I'm also always using Teams, so not so
here. I'm like,
I think that you should close the previous presentation.
Let me see, because I already did it.
If not, I have your presentation, so I could share for you.
Oh, that would be maybe better.
Okay, so let me just 1 second to open, and I will start sharing. Okay. I think now it's full screen. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you just tell me next, and I will
Yes.
go.
Yes. Thank you. As I was just mentioning, I'm the vice chair of this cost action. The chair is Francisco Sampaio from the University of Porto. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us today, but send his greetings. Next. So the full title of our cost action is Climate Change Impacts on Mental Health in Europe. As others, is quite recent. We started at the end of October 2024, so now we are in our second year, and the end of this cost action is supposed to be end of October 2028. This is our website, but of course I will tell you further also about the other media where you can find further information on what we are doing. The purpose and key objectives of our cost action, as you probably can guess from the title, is as all the cross-section establish a network of researchers and other stakeholders from different disciplines at an international level, including different backgrounds. I'm a medical doctor and I teach in academia and an associate professor, but there are many other representatives and scientists also not directly connected to academia. And the main purpose is related to optimizing European citizens and any individual mental health outcomes facing climate change. The relevance, of course, is high. I think I don't need, especially in this call and with us working all more or less on the same topics, to emphasize how it is important to analyze and to react, to act towards the rising impacts of climate change, and particularly I don't know if you are aware, but the impact on mental health is really high, and is particularly high among young people, among youth. That was our main, what really linked us as researchers working on this topic. We have a very large list of strategic objectives. There are many more than these four showed in the slide, but anyway, the most important ones are mainly quantitative, so really measure what these impacts on mental health are. But also explore some more qualitative factors related to socio-demographic characteristics, factors that can influence climate change-related mental health, but also how people and individuals, but also communities react and cope with these impacts. And we would like to analyze what is happening also and what are the differences at country level. And finally, also try to establish communities of practice that we can also keep after the end of the project, of the construction. As said, I'm a medical doctor and I come from the planetary health and public health area, but most of the participants, of the leaders and the participants are coming from the psychology and psychiatry areas, as you can guess. But we have also other disciplines and mainly other colleagues coming from public health, of course, but also people working in earth and related environmental sciences. And regarding the methodology used, I already explained a bit about them. We are using both quantitative and qualitative methodologies, but also many collaborative approaches and the building of community of practice and organizing social events and events where we can involve communities and people are also foreseen for our next steps. So many different stakeholders involved. We have 4 working groups. The first one is focusing on mental health impacts of climate change, so the most general one on identifying the social-demographic and health-related factors that can influence the response to climate change from a mental health perspective. As said, we are applying quantitative but also qualitative approaches to reach our objectives. While working group 2, there should be, thanks, is focusing on adaptive strategies and treatment possibilities for affected groups and individuals. So I said we would like to analyze further which are the coping strategies and what affect also the response to these coping strategies, identify effective interventions, best practices, regional country strategies that can really contribute to our efforts in addressing and mitigating all these psychological effects. Working group 3 and also working group 4, they are both related to the establishment of community of practice, as I mentioned earlier. The difference between the two is that the working group 3 is mostly aimed at finding short-term goals of this community of practicing, so try to shift societal behavior with different strategies and analyzing also which is the approach, which is the attitude across the different key stakeholders. And of course, also try to create a comprehensive framework for fostering solutions that contribute to these reactions, to these efforts. While the working group 4 is more on long-term strategies of this community of practices, so trying to enable sustainability and to develop and issue policy briefs or all the documents that could be useful to support evidence-based decision making at policy level at the different also levels of national, regional, and international level areas and countries. And finally, also develop training programs. We are also scheduling 2 training schools in March and in June. So further information about this will come. Stay connected on our media channel and follow us if you want to know more and maybe also join us. Very brief summary of key results and progress. As said, we are at the beginning of the second year, so we are finalizing some of the deliverables. There should be an animation. Almudene, thank you. Preparing and finalizing this deliverable, mostly those related to the work of working group 1, as you can see, but also working group 2. So they are mainly reviews and scientific papers related to interviewing the people involved and collecting data and information of experiences related to eco-anxiety in general, but also the coping strategies. And finally, also another review on behavioral interventions. And as always, we are also preparing and showing what we are doing through communication with the communication plan. Again, this is our website, official website, so please follow us and be updated reading what we are sharing there. We have also a LinkedIn group, so if you are interested in being updated regularly, please subscribe to our group and you will receive regular information. These are the names, me as vice chair, the chair Francisco Sampaio. You can send the email to our general email address, but also you can find our personal email addresses and all the addresses of the working group leaders if you are more interested specifically on what we are doing in the working groups. So don't hesitate to write to us and reach out if you want to know more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kara. I don't know if there is any question. Not for the audience for the moment. So once again, thank you for your presentation and also for this last showcase of the different action. We could see different approach, let's say, to fighting between the climate change and the problem that we have with the environment, but all of them with different approaches has a good potential. Let's move for the next part. We don't have so many time, but I think it could be a good point to discuss is this panel discussion between the different cause action that are represented today. So my first question that I want to do for the audience for the 5 action is I'm going to put also in the chat just in case. What do you think? What are the common barriers that your action are facing in implementing circular and sustainable solution? I don't know if someone wanted to start. Vicky, I think you raised your hand, so let's start by you.
Yes, guys. So from my experience, the bias construction as a technical, let's say, person, I'm an engineer who literally try to understand also all the social aspects in order to have an impact. I think one of the barriers, it's not so much technical, but communication. And I will give you an example. Today I heard about how, from Chiara, about the mental health issues connected with the climate change. And I was wondering, does this has to do with the engineering, let's say, solutions and maybe some pollutants that are released in the atmosphere? Or does this has to do with the fear that people are feeling about hearing all this news about climate change? So different people have different opinions, and yeah. Or for example, Fernanda said about biocultural heritage, where, for example, as an engineer, it's the first time that I heard this terminology. I would be interested to hear what it's all about, because me, if I'm working in an industry, I'm literally promoting all these industrial activities. I would wish not to harm the surrounding environment, but I cannot understand easily what other sciences mean about this. I'm stopping here. I just gave you some ideas.
Mute. Maybe Fernanda, because she mentioned to you directly in the comment, and later on we move to the others.
Yeah, thank you, Mandana. Thank you for the comment, Vicky. Yeah, trying to answer to your question and the challenge. I totally agree with Vicky. I think that we have. I think that most of the times we are academics and scientists, and we approach topics with our with our vision, and it's very difficult sometimes to reach people, as Vicky said. So I think that we have some kind of problems. They are about communication, of course, and we need different kinds of interface. That's why we bet on arts and some tools that are perhaps more close to communities and common people, because I think that is a difficulty, because it's like a paradox, because we are growing in awareness and understanding what we are doing, but at the same time, I think that we are getting blind and we don't see that we are harming ourselves. So I think that when we try to communicate and share this, it's good to work together, because we are talking with our small communities, and I think that we need to do it because everyone matters, and we need to engage everyone, but at the same time to have some other places for communicating. And if we are together, we are stronger. And we need to work with people that are not from our community, because sometimes, and we know about science communication and dissemination, etc., really need. But at the same time, as I told you, our policy briefs and our surveys sometimes show that even inside our community, we don't think about it in a different way that people that are not from this kind of subject. So yeah, I think that we have several problems regarding communication. We need a different kind of approach, obviously, and it's getting difficult because we are living very difficult times. And one of the topics is about questioning the role of science. So, and we are in the side of science, and if we see society and getting some, not only in the States, but all over the world, and I think that Europe is still a very strong community fighting for that, but we see that people are questioning about science. So we need to focus on that and how we can disseminate. So what common barriers is that? And I think that society is different, and the needs for people and from people are different, and we need to understand them in a different way to try to reach them. So that's why we are trying to do this with communities. We need good examples. I think that we need to show by example, and we need to work together, as Vicky said. If you have challenges, perhaps trying to share it with other disciplines and other groups, because sometimes we can have tools, and sometimes we have tools that could be useful in different ways. Biocultural heritage is a good approach. is interesting because it's trying to understand our things are interconnected, and how our heritage and our traditional knowledge, not even indigenous communities, but all kinds of communities, are connected with nature, and are linked in a very intrinsic way. So, and the biocultural heritage, and we are discussing everything, and even UNESCO is updating also the concepts and the approaches and the programs regarding the understanding of heritage. But all of us, we are born in a different civilization, when we were taught in a different way in what is nature, and how we connected it. So in these times, it's a huge revolution in our thoughts and philosophy. So we need to understand it. And bioculture is very interesting because it understands even that people are more available to change their own behavior when they understand their connectivity with nature, and sometimes they protect it. So what we need to do is also to get those good examples and to see how it works and try to share it. So, but I can send you some stuff regarding that if you want, Vicky.
Thank you, Fernanda. I think, yeah, it will be nice if you could share these examples. Angel, please.
Yes. Well, in our case, we have different barriers in the water reuse sector. Of course, first of all, we need to establish a very clear legislation. But well, some time ago, we already reached a new directive dealing with this. So, but it's curious because the main, from my point of view, barrier for water reuse is the same, is the own necessity of reusing water. I mean, it's not the same in the north of Europe than in the south of Europe. And even in Spain, it's very different from the north and the south of Spain. So here, for example, we have some regions in the southeast of Spain that uses like 90% of the water, of reclaimed water, and they reuse it. But for example, if in the north, there is a higher amount of water, fresh water available, so they don't have this necessity. So one of the main barriers of this practice is the same necessity of the practice. Of course, there are others. Linking with the previous with the colleagues, the communication is very important for the society, for knowing that this water is perfectly safe to be used if the practice is properly conducted. I mean, if you put the technology adequately, you are going to produce a water that is perfectly safe. And this is one thing that we have to work on it for letting know the society that it happens. And also, there is other barrier dealing with the stakeholders, the final stakeholders. So, for example, when you have one water that is fresh water, that is what they are used to use, and it's so cheap, but there is no water, so the price is maybe not well balanced. But you have to pay for other water because you are putting some prices for the technological treatment, and moreover, this water is reclaimed and not fresh. So there is some work also for the communication with the final users that should be done also. So, but I would say that the main barrier is the necessity. So, thank you.
Sorry, I was mute. Thank you so much, Angel. I mean, I'm from Spain, so I could see that in my region, for example, there's no water in anyway, but even though there's no rain during the last year, so we are in a quite challenging part. Okay, let's move for the next one. If I'm not wrong, is Katy.
Thank you. I think from a transformers perspective, one of the biggest challenges is the complexity of the systems we're trying to change. So these are complex social, technical, environmental, economic, and political systems. And individual disciplines or individual sectors can only give us a partial view of that sector, of that complexity. And that leads to a great deal of uncertainty about causality. It's almost impossible to predict causality in such a complex system, such a multi-layered complex system. And layered on that challenge of sort of only giving a partial perspective, certain perspectives and disciplines are just inherently given priority when coming up with solutions or when considering evidence in decision making. So particularly disciplines that lead to quantitative evidence or more technology oriented or economic oriented disciplines and knowledge. So we have a prioritization of a partial view of a system. So that is in itself an epistemic injustice. It's unjust that certain knowledges are marginalized, but it also leads to ineffective solutions. And so implementation of solutions that aren't going to be effective. But the bringing in additional sources of knowledge is a challenge in itself. We've been institutionalized to think about knowledge in a certain way through our disciplines. So we have a particular view of what knowledge is, and we have a particular view of how knowledge is formed, and then how knowledge should be used. So it's going back to some really fundamental ideas of what is knowledge, which is a big challenge for people to have that foundation of their research and their decision-making challenged in that way. So it's not simply a case of identifying what knowledge there is, it's bringing that knowledge together, which is a huge challenge. But because of the complexity of the system, it absolutely we have to think about how we find knowledges and how we bring them together from different contexts, from different disciplines and from different geographies. So I think, and that's where Julia was being really honest. It's hugely challenging. It's not just about finding these things, it's about challenging how we think about knowledge and research. So that's quite a fundamental part of what Transformers is trying to address. But thank you for giving a platform for this.
Thank you, Katy. Thank you so much. Let's move for Chiara.
Yeah, no, just to react, of course, I endorse and I agree with everything that was already said, starting from communication. And indeed, events like this, I think, are very helpful in trying to address and try to establish a common language and communicate together, and to understand that finally we are aiming to the same goals. But just also to give an answer to Vicky, who was asking me regarding the different the comparison, what I was referring to when I was mentioning eco-anxiety and climate emotions. Well, of course, we were referring to the general situation, so to the general problem of climate change, and actually how this is how people, and particularly young people, are developing their reactions, their psychological reactions to the general climate crisis. But of course, if an individual, if even an adolescent, especially with the current social media, then read good news about the development of a sustainable solution and engineering technical solution that is decreasing the impact on carbon footprint and so on, this is very helpful for us, because we need good news and not just the doom and gloom related to, unfortunately, the negative things going around. So this is also how our works are somehow connected.
Thank you. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And also I really like that different projects or different action has all the problem, all the communication from different perspective, but all on the same point. Thank you, Chiara and Vicky. I think one of the audience, Theo, want to say something?
Hello, everyone. great initiative to bring many or a lot. I don't know if there are any other cost actions in this kind of field in circular economy. And speaking of the interdisciplinary pathways for the resilience, let's say, European circular Europe approach, and what Vicky said at some point regarding, let's say, future plans and perhaps post-action plans and things like that, I understand that the cost actions are in different stages in their lifespan, but one suggestion would be to join forces somehow. You are all in the same or similar, let's say, domain, and building a kind of community. This could be quite impactful and create a lot of, let's say, opportunities for a future perspective. Could be, let's say, a network on circular resilience or a policy observatory. I see a lot of actions dealing with policies or governance labs. I don't know. Could be a lot of different ideas. But if you allow me, I could share an example, kind of paradigm, what we do with a post-action sustainability project, as we call it, with cost action PhysicsNet, which was 20 cost action 20 something. It's finished, and there is it possible to share my screen, or I can share some thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, in 2 more minutes you have to.
Just 1 minute. I'm not going to need more. Okay. This is how we. Do you see my screen?
It's charging.
You see it?
Yeah.
Right. Great. Okay. We try to build a community actually on physical activity. This is the cost was for elderly, physics, and things like that. And we have for our community, the Greek Scientist Society, a Greek, I don't know if Vicky is one of our members. Anyway, we have our own event platform. But what is most important is that we try to let's say, facilitate the discussion on every aspect that the scientific community is interested about. I mean, we try to build. This is our first meeting. It's a new initiative. It's a non-profit organization with some key figures. And George Chrysos, Vicky, I don't know if you know George Chrysos, which is a huge top clinician worldwide, 250 top clinicians. Anyway, the thing is, we try to build something like that: innovation and technology, data, digital twins, research publications, evidence gallery, policy and practice, impact, capacity building, clinical studies, because there is some, and citizen science and societal engagement. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that it would be great to join forces and create something that sustains and creates some real impact in what matters for the scientists, which is the different stakeholders, as you all know. All the actions build, let's say, works and deliverables within these things. You can join, we can join forces and create some nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Theo, for your kind introduction of possible ideas to go deeply and work all together. I think we are almost out of time, so I'm not sure if we have time for doing the second question of this panel, also because I think it more or less it had been done or replied to with other comment that you had done. So maybe what I'm going to share is in the for the last session for the audience panel, I put in the chat right now a Menti number. for a main link. So here there is more question for the audience in general that I would like if maybe you could enter an answer. The idea here, oh, I see that you are already answering. Thank you. Let me share my screen to share and explain a little bit what you are seeing. Okay, so one of our question and also idea of today's goal and connect more with the audience that are here. Some of you are from Actions member, or you are Action member, but not maybe for example, from LIAIS, you are from SIP or from the others. So we would like to know exactly which are the audience of today and also to see more or less what we could do all together in future projects. So I kindly ask you if maybe you could connect and answer here two different questions. The first one, as you could see, is which sector do you mainly represent? The idea is to see if we are all from maybe academia, research, or they are also public administration, civil society. In general, we consider that sometimes in cost action it's more easy, of course, to go and to connect with academia and research, but at the same time, for example, if I'm not wrong, Fernanda also mentioned that in their projects, or also Chiara, that they are doing some policy brief with public administration. So I think that it's going to be nice if we could see here who are our audience of today. For the moment, I see that they are academia and research mostly. That is good. I'm going to give 15 seconds more and I will move for the next slide or the next question. Okay, now I see they are NGOs and industry business. That's good. Okay, more academia. Let's move for the next one. You will see in your mobile phone or in your computer. The next question is, in which discipline is currently the most underrepresented from your point of view in climate resilience and circularity? Do you think it's engineers, social science, economic, health and well-being, or policy and governance? So here again, we would like to see maybe what are the most we told, for example, that there were a lot of social science, engineering, but depending on, so what is the most underrepresented for the moment? What are winning is social science and humanities, and what I can see is like business is quite represented. Okay, so I'm going to move. For the moment, they are only pending 2 votes or 3 votes, but let's say that the winner is our winner, not in a very positive way, but the winner is social science and humanities. Here we have the third question is, in one word, from your point of view, what is the main barrier to implement circular and sustainable solution in Europe? You have listened our cost action mention the legislation communication. Here I would like to ask you, what is your point of view? What is the main barrier? So you have just to tap your work and send it. Business thinking, funding, yeah, legislation, social awareness, policy, non-technical barriers, fragmented administration, fragmentation will be the same. Policies winning, because also we have policies, so in plural. Okay, so governments need to do something, and in general, fragmentation as well. Probably policy and legislation could be together, so it's almost the same, and all, let's say, governance as well could be compiled on the same one. And funding, yeah, it's also another important point. Thank you so much, and I'm going to move for the next one. The next one is, which aspect is currently, from your point of view, the biggest bottleneck for scaling circular solution? Regular framework, economic viability, technological readiness, stakeholder coordination, or social acceptance? For the moment, regulatory and social acceptance are winning, but also stakeholder coordination is also an important barrier or bottleneck from your point of view. Regulatory framework is taking more votes. But in general, what I could see also in comparison with previous question is that in general, technology is almost ready. There are a lot of engineering also working on this circularity, but that is not finally arriving to having success on circular solution. So to conclude, more or less, we could see that they are more or less a balance between regulatory framework, stakeholder coordination, and also social acceptance, because more or less the both are the same. That's anyway true that regulatory framework is winning. Okay, another one, if I'm not wrong, is the last one, yeah. What is the main added value of cross-disciplinary collaboration in cost-action? So today it has been an example of this cross-disciplinary collaboration. So I would like to know what could be for you the main added value, and also because all of this will give us some pills and some ideas to continue working all together. Also, Theo mentioned that, and I would like to say that, of course, there are more action, more cost action, of course, other kind of European project or national project related to the topic of circular economy, but at the end, we join forces with the project that answered to the email and to the communication and was interested to participate in this event. But that doesn't mean that we are the only one working on the topic. So here the main added value, let's say, is networking, integration, experience, perspective, development, community, insights. Okay. Yeah, let's say that networking and cooperation, or if joint effort and integration, are the winner in general. So once again, thank you, because the cooperation is not only about us as the cost action, also all of you for being here. We have an audience of more than around 100 people today. So that is also an example of joint efforts and people that want to work together on the topic of circular economy. So I'm going to stop sharing. Also because we are a kind out of time, 2 minutes or something like that. So I think it's time to close the session of today. Once again, I would like to thank you to Julia, Chiara, Vicky, Fernanda, and Hel for being the presenter of the first section, and also for all the comment that you did in the interactive section. And once again, also for all the audience for being here. As you could see since the beginning, the session has been recording, so we will prepare the recording and a list in Liais will be uploaded to YouTube channel. Also, we will share with all of you through email with the presentation and with the contacts of the different actions. So after that, if you want to join someone or you want to do a more specific question of one of the action, you will be free to do that. So once again, thank you to all of you to be here, and have a nice rest of the week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The
Coordinating.
best.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Goodbye.